Originally out of Niagara Falls, now living in Mexico City with his wife Teresa and stepson Victor. That's a way to start things off for Patrick, looking for his first win. And Patrick wanted us to make sure to tell Victor he's feeling good today and he thinks he's going to win.
Victor watching via satellite in Mexico.
Yep.
And you saw right away that friction down the lane when the ball got outside the first arrow, how it grabs the lane and hooks back into the pocket.
Well, here's a guy, Robert Smith, of course, was in the final back on February 17th that had a great match last night versus Mika Koivuniemi. Had to come from behind in 3 straight to win. And one thing that Robert told us last night, he wanted to come out and put the pressure immediately on Patrick Healey.
Good shots.
Well, you know, in the old days, obviously the thickness of the track, the thinner, the more consistent release. Now we're talking a lot about track flare migration. Explain.
Well, a lot different than the old days. Notice just a single track here versus multiple tracks on the new stuff. We're going to talk a little bit about that throughout the entire telecast. Because it is so different from the way this man throws. A lot of speed, a lot of revs, and some of the other players in our field. Robert Smith's nickname, Maximum Bob.
Got a little too much banana on that one.
Gosh. Rob, what are you turning over the top of it for?
Okay, he said turn it over the top, Randy.
His hand got around early, which made the ball change direction too sharply down the lane. Ball went right through the face, leaving the Greek church.
Well, he didn't leave it, and of course he did not pick up the spare, so he has the first open frame coming here in the second, and that puts Patrick Healey Jr. up by 14 pins in the early going. Patrick Healey looking for his first PBA win. You can see how he did great wins over
Doug Kent. He took him out 3-0. Doug Kent won $120,000 last tournament.
2 in a row for Patrick, who defeated the defending champ Steve Wilson in the semifinals last night. Well, all the latest information from the PBA Tour is just a mouse click away at www.pba.com. Check out all the PBA news, bio, stories, and you can talk right now live with our buddy Jason Couch. He'll be joining us later on in the telecast. And just a reminder, this is a great way to stay up to date on the PBA Tour. Even though there are no PBA events coming up until October, go on pba.com. You can find out all the latest about your regionals and about the tour. For Patrick.
Nice start for Patrick Healey. No easy road for him. He beat Doug Kent 3-0. Then he had to bowl reigning player of the year Norm Duke. Took care of him 3-0. And then he started with Steve Wilson in the round of 8. Steve Wilson is Mr. New Format because he's made a lot of shows. He won in Erie 2 tournaments ago and beat him in a 4-game match.
Well, he got right back on the strike track. Now, this is something that Robert has worked on. Last 6 weeks, we've watched him, and he has been bowling so well the last 6 weeks. And one of the keys for Robert has been just his mental adjustment after he has a bad frame.
Well, we saw him do that a couple of weeks ago when he won. You know, he had that bad opening shot, said he turned around it early, never did it the rest of the telecast.
You know, we talk about the flare. He's using real weak equipment this week, low flaring stuff. It's paying off so far. We are underway. Semifinal number 1 from the battle at Little Creek. Healey and Smith. And Smith trails by 24. Final number 1 from the battle at Little Creek. Robert Smith has found himself into a 24-pin hole in the early going. Patrick 3 in a row, looking to go up by 34. He's got great rotation on the ball so far today.
It's unbelievable. His rev rate is 325, 324, 325. Coach Shockley said he's never seen anything that accurate.
How about that? Accuracy at its best. 4-bagger.
All right, that's more like it. That was 299. But it still stays within the realm. 15 to 20, that's your difference in rev rate.
Well, you know, we talk a lot about track flare potential and track flare. Explain that.
Well, track flare potential is basically, you see those lines on the bowling ball, and what's happening is because of the new core designs, these balls are so much stronger, it creates what's called track flare migration.
Well, they went down slowly, but he's able to go up by 44 pins. You know, watching the bowlers the last couple of days, these pins aren't flying around as we've seen in the past. They seem almost heavy.
Yeah, the pins have fall. They fall heavy. They're not real lively here, and that's due to the sidewalls of the lanes themselves. Some lanes you have real lively sidewalls. The pins really fly around. The only guy that really made the pins dance this week was Robert Smith, due to the fact that he has over a 500 rev rate.
Well, he left the Greek church. Now he's got some problems here.
Good shot.
And talking about track flare, Robert Smith has high revolutions. He doesn't need a lot of track flare. What track flare does is when the ball migrates to a fresh surface on the ball, it actually hooks more. And it does this because the inside of the bowling ball is so strong. The earth revolves on an axis, so does your bowling ball. It always tries to find its preferred spin axis.
Well, Robert tries to hurt the 10-pin on that, but he finds himself down by 45 pins, and he wanted to be the aggressor, but in the early going, as you look at the score,
Back in this one.
Patrick Healey Jr. has been the aggressor so far.
Come on here.
See Robert in the 500 range. Now, when he went through the nose right here, his rev rate was 536. The thing to do after that, the compensation, is to lower your rev rate, 422 on the next shot.
Well, he said, there we go. You know, he has always tended to throw it through the break points on synthetic lanes. He hasn't had that problem, though, here at Virginia Beach. These are synthetic lanes. Same lanes, by the way, we used at Mohegan Sun.
And the reason why is because we had a lot of friction this week, not a real long or lengthy pattern, so he could get his ball to pick up and grab the lane a lot sooner than normal on synthetics.
Well, he's looking at his approach. Did his foot get stuck?
Well, it looked like he just didn't have real good balance when he let go of it, caused him to pull it. Sometimes on synthetic approaches, that's an issue depending on the temperature, the humidity inside the arena. Look at that speed, though, Ron, just phenomenal, 19.5, 19.6, and so on. And his rev rate is very, very consistent here.
Look out.
Now, did you see what happened when that ball went into that spare? It actually rolled out. So what happened was it lost energy. It actually got to its preferred spin axis. The ball actually stopped. This is what we call rolling out. Watch what it does right when it gets next to the 3-pin.
Come on.
Yeah.
Almost chopped the 6 straight back.
Patrick Healey up by 30 pins.
Had to kind of open the door, though, for Robert Smith.
Well, Patrick Healey is used to close matches. All 3 of his wins versus Steve Wilson came on the last frame. But right now, it's headed in a different direction. He's up by 30, bowling in the 8th. We'll return to the battle at Little Creek in Virginia Beach, Virginia, right after this.